What's up? I'm Ace, and dude, I've been trying to rack my brain and figure out what show to do a video on. Cause I mean, there's hella options and it's kinda hard to just narrow it down to one. It also doesn't help that I'm indecisive as shit too, so there's that. But after way more time than I should have taken, I decided to delve back into Absolute Duo to see if it was just as enjoyable as I remember it being. And I mean, yeah, it was alright. Absolute Duo is an ecchi battle harem that has one of my favorite tropes in some of these older loser anime, which is the usage of a duo. This trope revolves around a pair that consists of a generic-ish hero type and either a tsundere or kunere female lead. Of course, they can vary and differ from this norm, but that's what's present here. The duo of Tor and Yule fill that role, and their dynamic is kinda sweet. Aside from some of the romantic implications between the two, they kinda just look out for each other as friends. They both went through some hella traumatic experiences, so they kinda just get each other, I guess, and have good chemistry as a duo. There's only one season, so I don't know if they end up together or anything, but to me they seemed like they were kinda just homies. Kinda like the Ichigo Rukia dynamic. Since in shows like this, the duo tends to be the clear winner, that's probably the case here as well. But yeah, as I mentioned, they both kinda just fit their intended archetype and don't divert too much from it. Tor is a generic hero type. You can kinda see it straight away from his appearance too, which is kinda whatever. He has like no real distinguishing features or anything. He kinda just looks like every main character in the genre. He is pretty easy to root for, since, you know, there's nothing like deplorable or innately dislikable about him. His whole thing is that his blaze or weapon summon is a shield instead of an offensive summon, which in universe is weird as fuck since everyone else wields offensive oriented blazes. He does have a good reason for that though. His blaze manifesting as a shield stems from his desire to protect the people he cares for after failing to do so when younger. His backstory is actually pretty interesting, and we're shown parts of his traumatic past in his nightmares and PTSD flashbacks. But unfortunately, we don't really go into it like that or find out what actually happened. He does want revenge for the incident, but like I said, it's not really a heavy focus in this lone season. But since we do see that he's hella fucked up from that incident, you can kinda just infer that he would probably go apeshit if he ran into the person who made him go through that, which would set up Tor with a revenge arc or just like a dark period in the story, which at least to me would have been pretty cool to see. Aside from that, he does have cool attack names. His attacks are named after Nordic mythology, so Midify he'll scream shit like Mjolnir, which is pretty dope. Just like Tor, Yuli is also kind of cookie cutter. Unlike Tor though, we do get to see some of her darkness since she loses control and basically rampages twice in the show. Her traumatic experience was losing her father when she was little, and her sole goal is to attain more power to be able to slide for her dad, which I mean is understandable, especially since the mystery guy also gave her a massive scar on her back when she was little, which I mean, like, damn, the fucking loser was an actual villain. Appearance wise though, she's got the kudere white hair and the other physical attributes that character type tends to have. She does have a really cool eye color though. It's like this dope shade of purple. Personality wise, she's basically just like a toned down kudere, you know, like shy type that gets territorial about the person they care about, but she's not like emotionless or overly stoic. She kind of just has like the surface level tendencies of a kudere, I guess. But yeah, the main duo's pretty alright. They're kind of standard, but I'd say they're still pretty likable. The other characters aren't bad either, but some of them just aren't remarkable or that important to really go on about, like Tora, Tomoe, and this one dude who literally only speaks by flexing. They're alright, but ultimately they're kind of just there. Only other characters that are worth mentioning are Lilith and Miyabi. Lilith is pretty dope. She's a British transfer student, and the English voice actor did a goated ass job with her. Appearance wise, she's got the generic British chick look that appears in the genre. You know, like blonde hair, blue eyes, and certain assets. She's presented as this arrogant chick who always gets her way, but she does end up warming up to Tor after he saves her, and it's just like nice to her in general, I guess. But yeah, she ends up warming up to him, so much so that she actually ends up labeling him as her future husband. So from that, you can kind of just tell that she's the main love rival set up in the show, and she works well in that way because throughout the show I was actually rooting for her. As a character, she's written pretty well up until the end when the focus shifts towards the duo of the show and she's kind of just left there to just exist, I guess. But yeah, her character progression was pretty good and she was probably my favorite character from the show. The other love rival showcase in season 1 is Miyabi. She's introduced as this shy, good girl kind of character who tries her hardest to overcome how average she is. Appearance wise, she's also kinda whatever. Only notable thing about her is that she has the fucking second place haircut, which should be pretty telling as to what's gonna happen with her. But yeah, she was kind of whatever to me up until the ending parts of the show, cause throughout the course of the story, she gradually gains feelings for Tor and actually confesses to him. She gets rejected by him though, cause Tor happened to have a PTSD flashback as soon as she confessed, and he ends up saying no because he's too weak or whatever. And it's kind of just like, bro, what the fuck is that? That's like one of the worst ways you could let anyone down. Like, what the fuck? And as a result, she kind of just tilts hella hard and ends up joining the enemy organization to try and get stronger so Tor will date her. I thought this was a pretty dope twist for the character since I wasn't really expecting it. I knew something bad was gonna happen revolving her after the rejection, but I wasn't really imagining this. I kind of had in mind like maybe like a hostage rescue or something similar, but yeah, she just literally mental boomed and turned evil. She was pretty cool at the end, going full yandere before being saved by her dual partner Tomoe. As like an actual love interest though, I thought she was kind of boring. Like I mentioned earlier, she literally just seems like the girl who's just destined to lose. So there's that. Moving on to the actual plot of the anime, we follow along small goals at first. Things like, oh, get stronger, or train for this school battle, or be her friend in the game she set up. Basically, we just follow along their usual school activities and it slowly evolves into a feud and all-out war with an enemy organization. It's not boring or anything, but for sure the most enjoyable thing is just seeing the characters interact. That and the main villain was actually pretty okay. Well, there's multiple villains, I guess. There's the guy pulling the strings. There's the initial like minor villain who is like the teacher, but she ends up being just like a good guy who's just kind of an ass. And then the guy I was initially talking about, like the actual main villain, like the dude who terrorizes the duo. I don't remember what his actual name is, but they refer to him as K, so I guess I'll go with that. And K is pretty good because he kind of just pushes the duo to their limits, I guess. He forces them to just grow stronger, and he just edges Tor on and starts leading him towards a darker path, which he overcomes. But he's just cool because he forces the duo to just grow, learn to trust each other more, and just gain more strength, I guess. He's definitely not like a top tier villain or whatever, but he was better than the fucking guy pulling the strings because that dude was fucking mid as hell. So yeah, it's just an older show. I watched it in dub and some of the things said were pretty funny. That and it kind of just has goated ass dub voice acting. It's the kind of voice acting you'd only find in a show like this, because like I don't want to call it shit, but it's like the only way I can really describe it. It's shitty, like edgy dub voice acting. Like that's the description I have for it. But to me at least, it's super fucking enjoyable because I think it's funny as fuck. I do actually though have some complaints about the show. One of those being the end credit scenes of the show. They kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like deadass, when I first watched this, I was binging anime hella and would usually just watch the opening once and then skip that and skip the ending to maximize time. So I ended up skipping over them without knowing their existence, which made the story kind of confusing at times. Like to me it was just kind of tilting that the show from 2015 has fucking end credit scenes that actually progress the story. Like what the fuck is that, bro? The scenes themselves weren't bad and actually, like I said, helped the show progress forwards, but like damn, fuck this show for randomly having that. Just like fuck, it provides, like I don't want to like hype it up because it's a fucking ecchi show. Like it's not, oh my god, super plot intensive, but it does provide context and progress the story pretty well, as well as give you like cool or cute character moments. Because like I mentioned, when I first watched this shit, I was going through the show, like I finished it, like the whole show, and throughout it I was like, what the fuck, what are they referencing, what the fuck are they talking about? But yeah, it's a pretty ass complaint to be honest. Like it's kind of just stupid, but they should have for real just included these scenes into the actual show instead of putting them behind the credits, because like they're not like Jujutsu Kaisen end credit scenes where it's like a funny gag or something. They're like actually important to understanding what's going on, or at least getting some of the character development through. Another problem I have with the show is that it kind of just mentions something cool and then does nothing with it. I get that that's just what happens in a 1 season 12 episode anime, but like damn, like I already mentioned the cool story potential with Tor's past, and I mean it kind of just pissed me off that nothing arose from that. Or with the school principal, she's hyped up as Blaze Diabolica, and yet we only get to see some stuff literally at the end of the show. We literally just don't explore shit, or I guess we don't explore shit as much as I would have wanted to see. Same with the title of the show, Absolute Duo. It's apparently the max state a Blaze wielder can attain, but that's all we're told. We don't even get to see someone who's achieved it in action or anything. I guess it's just a case of me wanting to be shown this shit instead of being told, but I guess it is what it is. Overall though, the show's pretty good for the genre. Unfortunately though, like every other ecchi show, it just bashed hella hard on MAO, and I don't really think that public perception of the show is that great either. What I do think though is that if it were handled just a bit better, the show could could have had more of a chance to expand on itself. Maybe not like on the scale of Dead or Alive or Danmachi, but bare minimum like one more season. But yeah, as it is right now, although I did enjoy it, it is kind of just a little bit above middle of the pack for the genre. It's not the worst harem ecchi out there, but it's also not like the greatest. To me, it's just missing that one thing that pushes it further up for me. Oh, and the fucking fan service. I know some people care about that. It was kind of whatever. You get like some leg shots and anime titty, if I'm remembering correctly, but most of it was used for gags, outside of like the beach hot spring episode, I guess. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about the show. If you haven't seen it and you have like 4 hours to kill and binge something, check it out for sure. I only watched the dub for this one, so I can't say if the sub is as entertaining, but for sure though, the dub voice acting improved the show for me, so I thought that was good. Expect another video in a couple days instead of the shitty 2-week death period I leave my channel in. And yeah, for sure, like, comment if you'd like, share the video and channel around, subscribe, cause I'm trying to grow and that'd be sick. And yeah, that's about it. Later.